Sophie Cunningham just said what many people have been waiting to hear someone say publicly about Brittany Griner. She stood in front of the cameras after Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever scored 123 points against the Connecticut Sun, and she called for a ban on men competing in women's sports. There was no hesitation and no apology. Everyone watching knew exactly what she was talking about. So, let's break down what she actually said, why the timing was no coincidence, and what it could mean for the rest of the season as Cunningham goes all in against Griner. Let me know in the comments below if you stand with Sophie Cunningham.
I played with BG for 6 years, and so I know her like the back of my hand.
On that same vein, in that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Clark drives into the paint. Griner leans in, and once again, contact knocks Clark off her rhythm with no whistle. Fans replayed the clip over and over because they'd seen something like it before. And that's the problem. This wasn't the first time. Go back to 2025, when the Fever faced Griner's former team, the Atlanta Dream. Griner delivered an obvious body check on Clark, and the replay caught it clearly. The referees let it go then, too. So when it happened again in 2026, fans stopped calling it a coincidence.
We have heard nothing from the WNBA, absolutely nothing.
Brittany Griner elbowing Caitlin Clark in a crazy way and then calling her a trash white girl.
And Brittany Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittany Griner says, white girl.
The WNBA should investigate Brittany Griner's seemingly uttering profanities about white girl.
During the July 22 game against Connecticut, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Clark took repeated contact with no whistles. Then, after simply pointing at the scoreboard following a basket, she was hit with a technical foul. Fans booed loudly, commentators questioned the missed calls. And by the third quarter, social media was filled with fans wondering if Clark was being officiated differently than everyone else.
Look at this finish. Down low. She's been doing this all year. I am so impressed with her inside game. She gets inside that paint amongst the giants and just destroys people. Caitlin Clark, another sweet feed. And watch this. They called a timeout, not a foul. Watch her grab Caitlin Clark's arm clearly. Like, they didn't call this a foul. Look at that. Are you kidding me?
Clark's frustration isn't happening in isolation. She already has 7 technical fouls this season, so every reaction puts her closer to a suspension. Every bump, shove, and missed call tests her patience, but responding could cost her an important game. That's the pressure she's playing under. Stay quiet and take the contact, or react and risk another technical. Her competitive fire is what makes fans love watching her, but it also seems to work against her whenever the whistle stays silent.
Everyone always is coming at it as a negative. Well, me coming out with that, there's so many people who are coming out with the positive, saying, you know what, finally someone has said something. And I don't really look at either side of those, because I know whatever I say, I'm going to get hate and I'm going to get love. And if I'm going to live by the love, I'm going to die by the hate. And that's just not who I am. I beat to my own drum. And so people are always going to have something to say. You could win the championship. You could be the best at whatever it is. And there's still people who are going to hate on you. And so that's just what this world is. So I'm confident in who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I'm happy being me. And I'm going to continue to be that.
That was when Cunningham decided she'd had enough. After watching her teammate take hit after hit and then get punished for simply pointing at the scoreboard, she chose to speak up. It wasn't a reckless reaction. It was a deliberate one. After Indiana's 123-88 blowout win, Cunningham walked toward the cameras with a message. This time, she wasn't staying silent.
When it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
The final buzzer had barely sounded when Cunningham walked straight to the microphones. There was no hesitation. Before reporters could finish their first question, she began talking about protecting women's sports. She said men should not compete in women's sports and that girls deserve safe locker rooms. Cunningham also spoke about laws protecting fairness in women's sports, framing her message around love and truth rather than anger. It wasn't an emotional rant. It was calm, direct, and clearly something she had thought about long before stepping in front of the cameras.
Just like anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. And I truly think when you get people in the same room and you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. And so I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women, and I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone.
If you've followed the news involving Griner over the years, it's easy to see why many people connected Cunningham's comments to the bigger conversation. She never mentioned anyone by name, but many fans felt the timing spoke for itself. She delivered her message calmly, with no yelling or dramatic gestures. Within minutes, clips spread across social media. Some praised her for speaking out, while others strongly disagreed. Either way, her comments quickly became one of the biggest stories after the game.
You know, going to be some negative comments, but there's also a whole bunch of positive comments too that no one really ever, people hate positivity for some reason. I have no idea why, but there's a lot of positive comments too when it comes to that. And so, it is what it is. Like I said, we're all human. No one's perfect here. And so I really don't care what other people have to say. I know who I am. My people know who I am. And hopefully I'm doing them proud and making room for young boys and girls in our world to have a better future than we did.
Support came quickly. Fans flooded the comment sections, calling Cunningham brave and saying she voiced what many had been thinking for years. Major media outlets picked up the story, while other players responded more cautiously with general messages of support. Many fans even called her a hero, believing she had said what others wouldn't. Whether people agreed or disagreed, her comments quickly became one of the biggest stories in sports. And to understand why they had such an impact, you have to look back at what happened before that post-game interview.
As you know, this is something the president feels strongly about as well, and the American people do too, that men should not be playing in women's sports. It's completely ludicrous that anyone could support that. It's even more ludicrous that you do have Sophie Cunningham, a female athlete herself, very accomplished in her own right, coming forth and speaking that truth that men shouldn't play in women's sports. We want to protect women and girls. They are clearly very out of touch with the American public on this issue, which again is an 80-20 issue. It's common sense. It's rooted in basic biological fact that men should not be competing against women on playing.
Why does this matchup keep making headlines? It's not one moment. It's a pattern that's been building for years. Every time these two meet, another incident brings the rivalry back into the spotlight. BY 2025, fans already expected tension whenever Griner and Clark shared the court. Then came the Atlanta Dream game. It wasn't just the physical play that stood out. Cameras also appeared to catch Griner talking from the bench. While the broadcast didn't clearly capture every word, many fans felt they heard enough, making the moment even more controversial.
Brittany Griner, who I can't stand, sad that she's a Baylor grad. She called her a trash, expletive white girl. That was the lip reading. Yes, trash, white girl. Trash, blanking, white girl, is what she said.
Every time, the response seems the same. No real explanation, no major discipline, just a missed call and silence afterward. That's what fuels the frustration. As similar incidents keep happening, many fans stop seeing them as isolated moments and start believing there's a larger pattern, which is why this rivalry continues to attract so much attention.
Brittany Griner is, in fact, a man.
Underneath it all, rumors and online speculation about Griner's identity and gender have circulated on social media for years. especially during high-profile moments, but those claims remain unverified. That speculation often grows whenever some fans believe the league is applying different standards to certain players. That's one reason Cunningham's comments drew so much attention. Many supporters felt she wasn't just reacting to one game, but speaking to concerns they believed had been building for years. Her remarks also stood out because they brought into the public spotlight a conversation that had mostly been limited to social media and fan discussions.
Flag you, Brittany. Let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the hell out of here, yo. Yo. Jab stepping, it's a brick. Swing and a miss.
Oh!
Yo, I ain't gonna fake it right now.
That this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Britney's personal Instagram.
And this wasn't happening in a bubble. The discussion tied into the broader debate over transgender participation in women's sports, making Cunningham's comments about more than just one game or one player. Fans quickly reacted across social media. Some believed her remarks supported a larger point, while others strongly disagreed. Either way, the comments became part of a much bigger debate that extended well beyond basketball.
When it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors, but specifically the AI detection to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Britney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a bare female chest, we have to take this down. It obviously assumed that Britney was male.
Cunningham's comments gave the conversation a much bigger platform, spreading it across sports media and social media. For many fans, July 22nd became about more than just a regular season game. Her post-game remarks quickly became one of the night's biggest talking points, but once the discussion settled, the basketball still stood out. The Fever dominated, scoring 123 points in a convincing 123-88 win, one of Indiana's most impressive performances of the season.
Both sides. Boston over to her fellow All-Star, and Caitlin Clark gets the scoring started for Indiana. An area to watch throughout. Mitchell, one of the fastest in the W. Clark, 2 for 2 from outside the arc. Here's Caitlin Clark.
My friend. we knew where you were going. Some preserves.
Caitlin Clark, 3 for 3 from outside.
It all started from the opening tip as Clark took control, pushing the pace before Connecticut could settle in. Indiana raced to an early lead and never looked back. Clark wasn't just scoring. She was creating easy looks for her teammates with smart passes and quick decisions. She finished with 27 points and 11 assists in just 27 minutes. That's nearly a point per minute while picking apart the defense all night. Her efficiency wasn't a coincidence. Clark stayed one step ahead of Connecticut from start to finish.
Stephanie White was asked in the pregame. And Clark hits her 4-3. He's got 4 in 8 minutes. Clark, 5 for 5.
Come on, Caitlin, shoot till your arm falls off.
She wasn't doing it alone. Aaliyah Boston added 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Kelsey Mitchell scored 23 points with her usual off-ball movement. With all 3 stars rolling, Connecticut had no answer. Indiana scored a franchise record 70 points in the first half and never slowed down. By the final buzzer, the Fever had broken 15 records, including most points in a game, most points in a half, and their 11th 100-point game of the season, tying a league record.
It's one of the reasons that they are struggling to find that rhythm. Oh, Mitchell, the no-look over to Boston for the deuce.
Extraordinary. And it's not just as we talked about her scoring. Look at that pass. Coming off the screen, the quickness. It just feed it in stride to an Aaliyah ball.
10 different players scored, and 8 shot at least 50% from the field. This wasn't one player carrying the team. It was a complete team effort, with Indiana moving the ball, knocking down shots, and executing on both ends. Despite the missed calls and the controversial technical earlier in the game, the Fever never lost focus. They played through the frustration and still produced the highest scoring game in franchise history, making the win even more impressive.
He has turned into, especially over these last few weeks. Boston, deep position, size advantage, and one! When you run ahead of the...
Right now, Clark, Boston, and Mitchell look like the best trio in the league. But this win wasn't just about the stars. Indiana's bench added 31 points, giving the Fever the depth every championship contender needs. Boston made her impact everywhere, controlling the paint, starting fast breaks, and creating easy looks with her passing. Along with Clark and Mitchell, she kept Connecticut's defense under constant pressure. This wasn't just another July win. Cunningham made headlines after the game, Clark played through the contact and kept producing, and the entire roster stepped up in a dominant 123-88 victory. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more WNBA coverage. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.